Hey guys, so today I'll be showing you how to make a DIY hay feeder for your chinchillas or other small animals. So what's special about this hay feeder is that the only thing you're going to be using is fleece. We all know that chinchillas love to chew on everything, so this design uses fleece to hold the hay sack onto the cage, and therefore we won't have the problem of your chinny chewing on the hay sack. Also, before we continue, I would just like to say, if you haven't already joined my Discord server, please consider checking it out. There are a lot of cool people on the Chinchilla Kingdom server and we would love to see you there. To join, simply click the first link in the description. Now, without further ado, let's get straight into the video. So basically what I have here is a piece of fleece. But because we're going to be using fleece, I recommend you leave some extra room up here. You'll see why we need to do that later. So this is just a piece of scrap fleece that I had left over while I was making the fleece liners. But if you're going to make one, I do recommend that you make a bigger one because that way your hay can last longer and you don't have to refill it as often. If you're curious, this is about 8 inches and we're not going to be using all of this. So we probably need around, like, I'd say 11-12 inches on this side. So yeah, those are the measurements that I'm going to be going with today. If you haven't already, make sure to cut your fleece into the correct shape and we can begin making the fleece liner. Alright, so if you don't have a sewing machine, you can use needle and thread. That's what I'm going to be using today to sew the hay feeder together. So as you can see here, I have this fleece as a big piece, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to fold it in half. That way I have one less side to sew and it's less work for me. I do recommend you get quite a lot of thread, but not too much, otherwise it can get messy. So after your needle is ready, what you want to do is you want to sew these two pieces together. You're going to sew them together on this side all the way across, and then on this side you're not going to want to sew all the way across. For me, I'm probably going to sew about up to here, and the rest is going to be used to tie it to the cage and start sewing. Okay, I've sewn the two pieces of fleece together like this, and it might look a bit ugly right now, but what we're going to do is we're going to flip this thing around. So now it's a very important step, so obviously you need to cut some slits here so that your chinchilla or small animal can get to the hay. Okay, so you can tell that it's sort of a sack. What you want to do is you only want to cut one side of the fleece because the other side, obviously you don't want anything falling out on the back side. So now there's a lot of options. You can either cut like those squares, you can cut slits. What I'm going to be doing today is I'm going to be cutting 2 slits. Of course you can do more than that depending on how big your hay sack is. Of course, if you're worried about your animal ingesting this ink, I'm just using a whiteboard marker. It comes off easily with a tiny bit of water, so you can just wash it before you put it in the cage. It should be fine. So now it's time to cut it. Okay, so this is what my hay sack is looking like. The hay is obviously going to be sticking out through these holes. Now it's time to make these sort of like string things that you can connect to the cage. So what you want to do is on the side, you see where you finished the sewing ended, you want to make a mark where that happened. So that would be around here for me. So what you're going to be doing is you're going to be cutting a big square or a rectangle. So my sewing ended here, so I'm going to leave like half an inch and draw another mark right there. So now also on the same line on the other side, you want to leave about half an inch and draw another dot. So now what you want to do is you want to cut all the way up here and cut all the way up here. So you can sort of see that at the end, these are going to be like two fleece string things that will tie to the cage. Okay, you've cut it like this. You see that these separate into 2 strings, so you can just tie it like that to the side of your cage. But this one, it's still one piece, so what you want to do is you want to cut along the side of this to make it into 2 pieces. And I like to leave a bit of extra fleece here so it can fold up and I can put the hay in, but this is a bit too much, so I'm also going to be cutting a bit off this top right here. But what we want to do now is, you see we have these like 4 strings, so you just basically attach it to the bars of your cage, and then you tie 2 knots here and it's basically attached to your cage. And this is what my current hay sack looks like. And just to show you what it will turn out like, I'm going to put some hay in this hay sack right now. So you'll be surprised as to how much hay you can put in your hay sack. I still have a lot of empty room up here. But yeah, this is what it's going to look like, and what you're going to do is tie it to your cage, and it's going to be a very cool accessory for your chinchilla to get hay out. And also they won't be chewing at this fleece, which is very good. So that's all I have for you today. I hope you guys enjoyed, and thank you guys so much for watching until the end, and I hope this video helped you. I will see you next week. Bye!